The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, Britain will regret Trump's state visit. Left-wing London Mayor Sadiq Khan said that the UK will regret inviting President Trump on a state visit and accused the US leader of being a poster boy for the far right. Speakers, which is really, really insane, considering the Jews are on his side. Like, how far right do you think Donald Trump is when he literally has the support of the Jewish community? Think about it, for example. Just think about that for a sec. Donald Trump is supposedly far right, yet Israel supports him. The people that were the direct people affected by the last person who was actually far right, Adolf Hitler, they are now supporting, supposedly, another far right. No, they're not, okay? At the end of the day, the interesting thing actually is that Adolf Hitler has a lot more in common with the left. Doesn't like the Jewish community. Backs Palestine over Jews any day of the week. Although that's also the far right. Like I say, look, at the end of the day, both left and right. Anyway, moving along. Speaking to Sky News on Thursday, Labour's London mayor claimed that people espousing far right-wing views. I thought it's supposed to be far right. Now it's just right-wing. Right-wing views amidst the resurgence of conservatism in countries like Hungary, Italy, France, and the UK were fringe and far-right extremists. Yeah, tell that to Brexit. He blamed the backlash against the leftist propaganda, progressivism on the US president, saying their views are now mainstream and would have been normalised by Donald Trump, except for the fact that Brexit happened before Trump. Donald Trump is the poster boy for the far-right movement, and that's giving them even more credibility, he said, before adding and inviting the president was a mistake. I think years to come, by the way, we're going to regret giving the state visit to Donald Trump, he said. You will regret it, yes, because you will lose. You're going to lose your next election. At the end of the day, you have way bigger problems in your country right now, or in your city, than Donald Trump. You have people that are being robbed, murdered, stabbed with knives, whatever it may be. Crime is through the roof in London right now. And your biggest concern is, Trump feelings. His comments that the president had mainstreamed far-right groups across Europe echoes those made by the Pod Save America podcast, published Monday, in which Mr. Khan also accused the president of rolling back LGBT rights and women's reproductive rights. The remarks are the latest in a war of words between London Mayor and the US president, who yesterday branded Mr. Khan as a stone-cold loser. He's probably right about that. And compared him to the New York Mayor, Mr. Bill de Blasio, but shorter. The latest spat between the two men began over the weekend when Mr. Khan said in an interview that President Trump was just one of the most egregious examples of a growing global threat, and compared the language that he used to that of the fascist of the 20th century. In response to his criticisms, Mr. Trump branded Khan dumb and incompetent, and said that Mr. Khan should instead focus on the surge in crime under his jurisdiction rather than concerning himself with the president, and I would totally agree with that. Mr. Khan had past dealings with the president. On President Trump's visit to the UK in 2018, Mr. Khan reportedly facilitated the protest against him in London, even giving permission to carry out a balloon of President Trump to be flown as part of the demonstrations. Mr. Khan is not the only left-wing figure in the country to denounce the president. However, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has also come under fire for his criticisms of the president. Corbyn spoke at a protest march on Tuesday against the President Trump's visit and boycotted a banquet hosted by the Queen on Monday evening. This is seen as many as hypocritical, as Corbyn has yet attended a dinner in honour of the President Xi Jinping of China, despite the country's human rights abuses. Which is really, really freaking interesting, isn't it? Oh, by the way, do you guys know that Sadiq Khan used to be a lawyer? And did you know that Sadiq Khan also represented the one and only anti-Semitic Farrakhan? Yes, the guy that literally referred to the Jews as termites. By the way, his words, not mine. Sadiq Khan represented him. Boy, isn't that interesting. It's really, really weird how he goes on about these far-right figures and these symbols of hate, but, you know, has no problems dealing with them when it comes to defending them. He even went through and was one of the main people responsible for getting Louis Farrakhan back into the UK after he was banned for hate speech. He was one of the people leading the protest to let him back in the country. Has no problem with hate speech then, only has a problem with President Donald Trump, who I don't think does hate speech. But regardless, you know, hey, Louis Farrakhan is a pinboard of health, right? He's a poster boy for love and tolerance. He's not anti-Semitic at all, right? Yeah, exactly. In chat, things are about to get harder for the right-leaners now. Yeah, oh yeah. With the censorship, we have no idea. It's going to get worse. It really, really is. It's going to get a lot worse than it's going to get better. But we'll just have to soldier through it. But Sadiq Khan's worried. This is what it is. He's worried because he knows he's not going to win a re-election. He knows he has a huge problem on his hands when it comes to, for example, his city. He knows that if Brexit goes through, he's not going to be able to import all these immigrants that are going to vote for him. You know, his brothers and sisters. And at the end of the day, he knows that if people, Londoners, start taking back their city, that he will lose the next election. But I don't know if there's enough white people left in London to do that. I think at the moment, I think the last thing I saw, the last report I saw, was that London, there was no way London can ever go Conservative. So, London has fallen. But, I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.